potholes. He also brought to my light that the Kenniston Farm Villas is a private community, and the roads cannot be fixed. Their HOA is supposed to take care of sealing the roads, potholes, or issues that arise, and I wasn't aware of that. Their streets, it's just one street, Tulliston. It hasn't been deeded over to the city of Lawrence, so that is the reason why the splits are still in the street. They would have to fix them themselves with their HOA dues or whatever fees and things that they have to pay. And I also would like to suggest to the administration, if we could have an economics roundtable, like get all the businesses in the area and throw out some of the businesses that the residents would like to see in the city, and why is everybody just building around us? I mean, why can't we get a hold on some of these businesses?
Thank you. Any other counselors?
Madam President?
Yes, Councilor Williams.
So at the last, I'm sorry. All right. So at the last meeting, I had some issues that in my district I wanted to, I brought to light. And I just wanted to know, do we have any feedback or resolutions to some of those issues? And I'll reiterate them. One is 65th and Carroll Road, just north of the drainage that we're receiving from Hancock County. That issue is a huge issue because the flooding that the residents have along Carroll Road is getting, it's been outrageous. Like I articulated then, they're receiving all kind of matter to include carcasses from animals on their property. Two, the German church paving, the date on that. And three, the bridges on 56th Street and German Church. The walking paths or the walking bridges, if you will, prefabricated, so the people can have access to the shopping districts in Lawrence along Pendleton Pike and Sunnyside Road. And I offered a suggestion to offset the cost of those projects as well. So just wanted a little feedback on that. And the trash policies, I am in the process of adding more or stricter rules or more teeth, if you will, to the policies of trash of these property owners along Pendleton Pike. Our city is looking very bad along Pendleton Pike, just east of Steak and Shake and right across the street over there. That trash just accumulate. Property owners need to be held accountable. And then the sidewalk at 6262 White Rabbit that is caving in, and it's caving in right along the water line. That issue is starting to, well, not really even starting, is happening a lot of places throughout the city. And I've also reported to DPW 12437 Rosehaven Drive, that same issue is occurring. And if we don't get a handle on that, those water lines, that's going to be a huge, huge issue. And then, is there any updates on the community crossing matching grant that it would be 75-25 match for those potential projects? Are there any information on that as well? Well, whatever the number is, an update about that so that we can get on top of those issues or try to address those issues with my constituents in that district. That's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you. Counselor Williams, any other counselors?
Madam President, I mean,
Yes, Counselor Wells.
I'd like to echo something that Councilor Williams just said about the trash. It's fairly significant on some of the thoroughfares in my district as well. And if possibly during administration comments, or maybe if they want to research it, get back with us later at the next meeting. I was just curious as to why it is this municipality isn't utilizing the prison systems, the court systems for people that are on, some kind of public service. The prisoners can be organized with the prisons and the court systems. I've talked to other people in the municipalities that do that as well, to get these individuals to pick up the trash along the thoroughfares. And I was curious why it is. I've never seen that done in the city of Lawrence, and I was curious as to why that is. The other thing that's come to my attention is I've been extremely diligent somewhat with the tall grass. We've got a number of houses in my district that basically are abandoned for whatever reason. And the grass in many of these places have yet to be mowed ever. It also came to my attention that the city is not actively looking for any of these addresses, that the only time that it's addressed is if there's a complaint filed. And I was just curious if that is in fact the method of the way we operate, or we're not actually actively looking for these properties, we're just waiting for someone to complain. And like I said, if someone from administration would like to weigh in on that tonight or the next meeting, I would like to have an answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other counselors?
Madam President, one more thing, almost two, but we'll see. So the code enforcement officer, we don't, my understanding that the DPW director is the code enforcement officer now. So I'm getting a lot of questions about, we can add to or enhance or strengthen, however you want to articulate it, any ordinance of our city. But if they're not being enforced, then it still doesn't matter or go anywhere. So the code enforcement officer, who is it? Are we looking for one, or is the DPW director the code enforcement officer? Whatever the case, can we get an answer on the code enforcement? And two, thanks, Mayor, for correcting the split of 50-50. Still a small price to pay for the safety of our constituents, especially in our district, my district, District 4. That is a very small price to pay, and I think that we should step up as a city and do everything we possibly can and not only enhance the beauty and safety of our constituents, but it also makes our city a better place. Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. I'm done now.
Okay. Any other counselors? Okay. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda, we have approval of minutes of regular meetings of May 7th, 2018, and May 16th. Is there a motion?
Make the motion.
Motion, Counsel Freeman.
I'll second it.
Second, Counselor Wells. Any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Okay, it's unanimous. Next on the agenda is signing of vouchers, approval of claims, and authorization of payment. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion, Counselor Wheeler.
Second.
Second, Counselor Parker. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor by a show of hands to pay the vouchers? Unanimous? Next on the agenda is reports of committees. We have one, and that's from Code. Counselor Williams.
Madam President, we met prior to our regular scheduled meeting, and it was voted that we keep proposal number 2 in code until we get the police department and DPW representatives to weigh in on the stop signs.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is unfinished business, proposal number 2, 2018. Please.
Proposal number 2, 2018, introduced by Councilor Shavat, a proposal for an ordinance amending the municipal code of the City of Lawrence, Indiana to establish an all-way stop intersection at River Birch Lane and Elm Ridge Drive.
Okay, that will stay in code for now. Next on the agenda is new business.
Proposal number 3, 2018, introduced by Councilor Parker, a proposal for an ordinance amending the municipal code of the City of Lawrence, Indiana to establish a preferential stop intersection at Indian Lake Boulevard, South Drive, and Hidden Oak Lane.
Okay, I will assign that to code.
Proposal number 4, 2018, introduced by Councilor Parker, a proposal for an ordinance amending the municipal code of the City of Lawrence, Indiana to adopt a new chapter of Title III, Article 3, to establish standards for the elimination of graffiti.
That will go to code as well. Next on the agenda is comments of the administration.
Try to keep this real short since you've got the packet there in front of you. I tried to answer all your questions from last time. Just a couple of add-ons here. To address the problem, the trash, which has obviously been annoying to me also, as it is to everybody, we did meet with Best Equipment this past week, and we are in the process of buying a street sweeper that is made to sweep streets, not one that's made for parking lots. So it'll be a much bigger, much more efficient one. We're also going to purchase what's called a high vac, which is essentially a gigantic shop vac that actually goes in the back of a pickup truck. And it has a very long, about a 35 or 40 foot hose that goes out and just basically sucks up the trash on the thoroughfares in there. So hopefully we'll get those two taken care of, and that will take care of some of the issues. I do have to mention before sitting down that we did have a great ceremony this past weekend in which we recognized our Vietnam veterans with the moving wall. And that was a great turnout on that Saturday afternoon. We had blessed with very good weather. And it was just a tremendous way of showing Lawrence. I think the wall is moving as of today. It will be back each year. We did move it to a different location, which actually may end up being a better location, quite frankly. It was over there by Lee Road in Memorial Park, and you could actually see it from Lee Road. So that made it maybe a better. Wait and see until next year. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Mayor Collier, do you have any idea on timing on those 2 purchases for the trash removal?
I don't know. Mr. Fenwick, you're the money guy. I know
that
one we're in the process of signing a deal on. The high back may be a couple of weeks behind that in there. Hopefully by the end of the month on both. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Madam President, I would like to know if there's any feedback from the administration on some of my concerns
Okay.
that I brought up last month, ma'am.
Okay.
It would be very helpful if most of your concerns are DPW concerns. Very helpful if you would indicate that to them before tonight's meeting. I can address the one concern you had about the Community Crossroads grant. That's a 50-50 split. That information just got out. Projects are due to be submitted by, I believe, the end of July. The money will not come out to the cities until sometime after the end of August. Last year it was in the 1st of September. So how that money is spent, well, actually, Shrewsbury engineers, they consult with us on what projects will take priority, and we pretty much pay attention to what they're going to tell us.
Okay, so maybe for some, since we had several questions, maybe if it's possible for us to get DPW representation at our next,
I agree 100%.
that'd be great. And then,
I'll get him here.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's great. And one note is that I did bring this up prior to tonight's meeting. So this is nothing new. This is just a recap.
If you're asking about the bridge, that seems to be your main topic, that would be a rather major project. That project would take some design, engineering. It would be very costly. I can't get an answer for you, the bridge, in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I understand that.
In 6 weeks' time. But it's something that's on our radar. Whether it'll be done this year, it'd be foolish for me to suggest that it would be. You know, I don't really know the answer to the question.
Right. So I'd just like to know any updates. Something I can take back to my constituents.
You asked also about code enforcement. I'm not sure. Bill Anthony's always been in charge of code enforcement. We have 2 other individuals who go out and will report or code violations, but Anthony is the head of the department. Okay.
So we have 2 code enforcement officers?
Bill Anthony and two additional.
So we have 3. Okay.
Generally speaking, Bill Anthony would not be in the street, but he has been, I know, recently.
okay, thank you. Next on the agenda, we have citizens' comments. Hi, please state your name and address for the record.
Linda Moore, 4909 Leone Drive. And I came to you guys at the beginning of last month. And since then, I believe we've had teenage shootings over in my neighborhood. There were two kids that were shot. And 2 weeks ago, the house next door to me was shot up at 11 a.m. on Monday morning. And it was a drive-by situation. It would have been very bad if it had occurred right now with school being out, because the kids play on that corner. And I don't know what the solution is, but it's getting kind of like the Wild West over there. We lost one potential renter who was a nice young couple. The woman was pregnant and looking at one of the houses in the neighborhood, but when we had to be honest about what was going on over there, and they said, oh, we'll go look in Oak Landon. I have another neighbor who is possibly putting their house up for sale. They were not planning on moving for another 5 years. And they're going to put their house up as is, which means it will sell for a rental property. So I'm kind of at my wit's end over there as being a longtime citizen. I know we've got some extra patrols. I see the extra patrols. The basketball goals were out again this weekend. The fireworks were going off this last weekend, and as dry as it is, they were setting off massive fireworks in the street, and I had ash clear down at my house. I did call it in. I wasn't sure whether they stopped because the officers came by or whether they were just ready to stop. I'm looking for solutions. I'm looking for some kind of long-term plan as to what we're going to address the west side. I don't want to see my neighbors leave that have been there and have been established for a really long time. The older people do not have places to go, and yet they should not feel that they are not safe. We should not have to hide in our houses because of what's going by on the streets. So I'm open for some kind of plan. I know our crime watch is not active over there. But I know when we did have a crime watch, it was like Groundhog's Day. The same issues were brought up over and over and over again without resolution. We've got drug houses over there. We've got drug activity. We've got fast cars. We've got kids that are wandering blocks and blocks away from their homes, little ones, without supervision. So, I can't make it go back to where it was 20 years ago, but I want something that resembles a good neighborhood. because that's what I bought into. And that's why I came to Lawrence, was it was a good neighborhood. You know, this stuff is coming in from Indianapolis. Great. Make it sure they're not going to come across the boundary lines into Lawrence, and it's not a good place for them to be. You know, I have no idea where the car came from the other day that shot the neighborhood up. We were lucky that nobody got hurt. And we were lucky that the house wasn't damaged more than it was damaged. But again, there are children in this block. There are children who play on that street corner. And I can't help it, the parents don't watch them, but I don't want to have to go out and do CPR and do rescue techniques on a child that's been hit by stray bullets. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're adjourned.
Sign the vouchers.